the real world sucks. Your parents may neglect you, you don't have the biggest circle of friends, school's getting challenging, and you are not ultimately satisfied. What would you do? Would you just carry on with your life, not feeling content when you sleep at night, or would you do something about it? Whether it may be expressing yourself through history, music, poetry, and art, or cooking. What does that look like for us teenagers or people today? The answer is obvious. Social media is evidently the most used platform today, not only for creative purposes, but for therapeutic, economic, social, and cultural purposes. In fact, an average of 55% of the people in the Middle East use social media daily. As a third culture kid that grew up in Dubai, I would make the claim that social media played a fundamental role when establishing my character and identity, and it still does. Many figures to look up to and imitate when it comes to style, clothes, beliefs, ideologies. It is undoubtedly easy to fall into a cycle when small things like a notification or a buzz on your phone would stimulate amounts of dopamine. And that's why it makes sense for people to escape reality through this virtual world that is accustomed to their dreams and desires. Instagram surely cannot order you to complete your 20 missing assignments. Instead, it will give you more reasons to love life. Look at this post of friends in the Eiffel Tower and pink macaroons. It makes us feel like that maybe someday, one day, we might be able to live, smell, and see this reality. That I will go to France and I will indulge in those sugary macaroons. I will have this exact same car, but instead, it's going to be in my garage. Social media makes one feel like there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Since we're not already attached to our phones and feeds enough, COVID happened, and that is when our dependency on this platform and on social media exceeded and began to consume our everyday lives. I must admit that I was a victim to this as well. Everything somehow became blurry except not my phone or my social media feeds. A while before the COVID pandemic started was when I decided to get involved in social media, one of the most famous social media platforms today, known as TikTok. I did so because I found it fun and creative, a way in which I can act out my awful day at school and hope that someone on the other end of the screen might find it humorous. I found producing, editing, and shooting content would speak to me. I made videos that I knew made my audience feel a little more joyful, or in other words, distracted from the bitter parts of reality. I gradually became more invested. I started to prioritize filming over schoolwork, filming over going out, filming over editing, and it just became a bad habit. My family were concerned as they felt that my self-identity began to deteriorate. I still remember when I bought one of those lights that come with an attached tripod. It's known as a ring light. That was when I got fully submerged into this world of content creating. It brought me inner peace to know that my younger self would be proud, to tell her that her dream of growing an audience and being passionate about something would actually be true. It was my favorite thing about myself. It was as if I disposed my identity and replaced it with this online persona, which did not align because of a lot of the things that I did were for the purpose of engagement. Initially, my motive was to express myself, but as the algorithm shared my content and provided me with the opportunity to appear on the Explore page, I found my initial motive shifting to an unconditional desire for attention, views, followers, likes, and exterior things that would not mean anything if the internet were to disappear. This factor that I built my identity upon would be diminished in less than a second if it were up to this world, and that was what terrified me. When I reached 500,000 followers was when I started to acknowledge that something was wrong. TikTok gradually stopped promoting my videos as frequently, and when I started to lose engagement was when I realized the severity of my dependence on this app. I was in absolute distraught. All I could think of was, when am I going to get my account back, the one that was so full of life and engagement? My subconscious mind also believed that I would not mean as much to people if my account were to die out, that it would be an embarrassment. On the contrary, losing engagement brought me back to this reality, the one that we all dread, the one that leads us to escape. It's ironic how I was immensely grateful to reach reality when all I wanted to do was escape it at first. It was like an open door to my old self. I still find joy in producing and filming, but it is not my only characteristic. The girl that I know is humble and cultured. She grew up as a divergent kid, and she has a brother that raised her to be a creative and charismatic figure. Sorry, Mom and Dad. This girl deserves much more than validation from strangers on the internet. You can decide whether this programmed virtual world can dictate how valuable of a person you are. Thank you.